Welcome to Morning Message for November the 17th. In the last couple of months, it's been nearly impossible. In fact, it might even go back further than that, but nearly impossible not to think about elections. It's been the major theme on all of our news feeds, the American election. And last week I saw a news conference with President-elect Joe Biden. And in a sense it was exciting, but in a sense the reason for my excitement was because it was just kind of, there. He said some things that he wanted to say, and he answered questions that he was asked. It was kind of normal and perhaps even a little boring. And that got me thinking about democracy and the two essential components of democracy. One is elections and the other is governing. And they're two very different things, and some people are predisposed to being good at one or the other, and rare is the person who's good at both of them. Elections are exciting. They're like the playoffs. We fight hard, and at the end of the day we shake hands and agree to meet again someday to go through it again. That's what normally happens. Governing, on the other hand, should be a little boring. It's just the kind of things that you have to do to get on with society and keeping things safe and healthy and wonderful for everybody who's a part of that society. That's how it's supposed to work. Governing is kind of a little boring, hopefully, and electioneering is the exciting part of our democratic process. I tried to apply that same kind of thinking to the church because we also had an Episcopal election in our diocese this year, and it didn't garner the same kind of attention that the American election did, naturally. I mean, it's a much smaller scale. But even amongst those of us who could vote, I'm not sure that it was quite as exciting as one might think. So elections in the church for positions like that, I guess perhaps it's okay for them to be a little bit boring because it really is a part of our governance, a part of the way that we govern ourselves. And so synods, when they meet, it's a governing body. It's not supposed to be terribly exciting. It's supposed to get on with the governing of the church. I think the same is true of parish councils and perhaps even the annual meeting. I'm always a little bit happy when neither of those things get terribly exciting, that we just get on with the business of governing ourselves and managing what we do. That doesn't mean that excitement shouldn't be a part of the church. In fact, I would say it ought to be. But perhaps at the governance side of things, it doesn't really need to be all that exciting. There's an old-fashioned word that is used to describe the people who are part of the church, and that is the elect. I don't want to get too much into that word because it comes with a little bit of baggage, a little bit of controversy, because there's two ways to think about the elect. Were we elected by God? In other words, were we predestined to become the elect? I'm a good Anglican, and I certainly don't hold that position, that we were elected long before we were born to be purveyors of the Christian message. So the other point of view, the point of view held by our church, is that human beings have the ability to choose to become the elect, to become followers of Jesus Christ. And that's the exciting part. I mean, it really is the exciting part of what it means to be a follower of Jesus Christ. That initial enthusiasm we have when we've made that decision, and the enthusiastic things that can happen all along the way. I would even say that Sunday morning worship should be part of that excitement. We should be looking forward to it. It should have an element of joy and celebration as a part of that. Perhaps the drudgery that prayer can have sometimes, that's what we do the rest of the week rather than on Sunday mornings. Sunday mornings ought to be part of that celebration, ought to be a part of the excitement of being a follower of Jesus Christ and carrying out that ministry. There are parts of it that are simply a drudgery. You know, we haven't been, since COVID-19 has taken a grip of us, we haven't been wearing our robes in church. And that's because one of the recommendations is that we wash those things between Sundays. And some of them are really difficult to wash. My alb, for example, needs to be pressed. And I don't want to do that every week. And so we made the choice that, you know, kind of our street clothes or whatever we normally wear, those are things that get laundered regularly anyway. So it's okay to wear those on Sunday mornings. You know, but in other words, there's kind of the practical side of our worship, of our life together, that can be a drudgery, like doing the laundry in preparation for Sunday mornings. It can also be a tremendously prayerful time. Don't get me wrong. I find preparing for Sunday mornings a prayerful opportunity for me. But there is an element of that kind of regular thing that happens every week that you need to do in order to prepare. But then there's actual doing of it, and that can be exciting. And watching people's lives grow and change and transition, that's tremendously exciting as well. Watching people's faith deepen, that's so very, very exciting. It's not exciting in the same way that a close election might be in politics. In fact, I think it's way more exciting to be able to share in those times in one another's lives. So I think that's my reflection for today, that you know, we don't need to have the same expectations of the church as we do of the rest of society, that we find joy and excitement in different ways and in different places. And my hope and prayer for all of you today is that some of the excitement of choosing to be one of God's elect is truly a blessing in your life, and that you will find ways to express that election today. God bless, and amen.